to be lots of laughs today. This is the next episode of Music at Maddens with Lynette Fay. And today we have the Belfast Birds and the Blow-Ins.
Yay!
Blow-Ins and the Belfast Birds. We've just been discussing this. 4 members of the 11-piece collective Biird here in the Snug in Maddens. Hello, and it's great to see you all. What's the crack?
Hello. Good. Thanks
Me
for
and
having
Lynn
us.
O'Donnell, and with Claire Loughran, and we have Zoran Donahue and Niamh Hinchy.
Hinchy, that's the
Hinchy
one.
from Limerick.
Yes.
We've got it. Now resident in Belfast here for the last 2 years. Love
Good
it.
woman.
So birds, 4 birds. What kind of birds are you?
Oh,
Are you
straight
embracing,
in with the
you
deep
embracing
questions?
your inner swallow blackbird? What are you?
I would say a bit of a
pigeon.
A crow.
A crow. I'm definitely a crow. Yeah. I'm a big fat crow.
Yeah.
I
So
would say you're a little robin. Niamh.
Yeah, I actually.
You are
Robin's my favourite bird.
No way.
No, did you just call that?
Yeah.
The name bird is actually nothing to do with the species of birds or the animals at all. It's actually from the slang term of calling a woman a bird. Do you know? Being like, oh, she's a fine bird, and reclaiming that as our own.
And
So
we
that's
are
where it
all
came from.
birds
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
It's like a woman who's like slaying and is
Yeah.
good looking, and you call her a bird. So that's where that came from. And then the 2 eyes is obviously for the 11.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack in what you're doing as a collective, as individuals, in the music, the image, everything about you, and even that idea, of reclaiming things that you take for granted and maybe don't think about, Niamh. So let's talk about you all individually first, because I think the power of a collective is in the bringing the individuals together. So I want to get a sense of who you all are as people and musicians and what you bring to the party, because from the outside looking in, Biird looks like quite the party. It looks like something you really
really
just want to be
is.
involved
So
in.
much crack.
Yeah.
It's too much crack.
Too much.
I need to
Sometimes
remove
too much.
myself.
Downfall.
Yeah.
Not at all, nothing wrong with that.
from Bird.
We need to
Bird has
rein in the
started.
crack sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mia, tell us about yourself. Mia Lewin O'Donnell.
Yeah, well, from Castlewellan, County Down. Started playing the flute when I was about 10 or 11, as you know, Lynette.
But our listeners and our viewers might
Our
not know.
listeners, many listeners and viewers. And learned from my mum, Tina McSherry. Shout out, Tina. Woo. Started singing during COVID. My mum, I moved home during COVID, and my mum was like, as long as you're living in this house, you're going to learn how to sing a song. And I was like, fuck's sake.
Were you not singing before that?
Didn't sing a word of
I
it.
don't believe you.
Swear
crazy.
to God.
Like,
Yeah.
talking about birds, your mother was the original
She
song
was a
lark.
load.
Absolute.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about slaying.
Yeah.
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 Stunner of Tamlin in the 90s.
Yeah.
And an amazing singer
Yeah.
and flute player. That I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I actually, that's how I started smoking when I was younger. I don't smoke anymore, but
Mind
That
that
be
voice.
known.
yeah, minding that voice. But when I was about 15, and was being, my friend Mark Keown used to bring me to sessions, and as soon as somebody started singing a song, I was like, oh, I can't be bothered listening to this. I want to go out for a smoke. So that's, I swear to God.
Stop.
But then,
Now you're commanding silence, are you?
yeah, I'm like,
Mia's gonna
everybody
sing a
shut
song
up.
now.
But I moved up to Gweedore for a few months right before COVID. And I remember the first night I was there, they had a bit of a lock-in in Hughy Bugs, and I was sitting up at the bar, and there was about 8 people at the bar, and each and every person took a turn to sing a song. And it was mostly older men as well. And I was sitting there and I thought, this is the importance of song and of carrying on the tradition of songs. And then it was shortly after that I moved home, and my mum was like, if you're living here, I want you to learn a song. And then the rest is history.
Fabulous. That's a brilliant story.
Yeah.
Good woman, Tina. And Upkey Door.
Yeah.
I actually remember Mia Lewin deciding she was going to sing. It was over COVID and she was around in our house. Probably weren't meant to be. Breaking the rules. And she just decided to start singing. She was like, I think I was going to start singing. I was like, can you just do that? And she did. And you just like escalated from there. It was great.
I just
Great to
totally,
see.
totally fell in love with it. And I regretted that I didn't start it sooner.
Yeah.
When I started, but then I thought, no, I might have taken a totally different path. I might have resented it if I started singing when I was younger. The chips fell like that, and I I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, now
I just love it.
you're embracing it, loving
Yeah,
it, and doing so many different things with it as well.
Yeah.
And singing as well as instrumental music and dance is a big part of Biird and what you're doing. So Claire, tell me about you, because you're again a very musical household. Anis a cháird a couple of focal faoi Urhori and Fod Crealta seo. A couple of words about our very kind sponsors, Rira Irish Lager. Nish, Rira, if you haven't heard about it, it kind of sums up the unpredictable devilment that Irish people are so very good at, particularly here in Maddens, in the heart of Belfast. So Rira celebrates the best bits of being Irish by creating reasons to talk, to meet, to gra, to bant, to hear, to be heard, to be lechéile, just that little more often. So music at Maddens, dig it and dig an tusa, agus anis, scúpla focal a cháirde for 18s and over, and please drink responsibly.
We are, yeah. So we were all brought up playing music. Like, we were started on like many instrument from a very young age, and we've all kind of found our own little path into like which instrument you preferred. It was my cousins of Brady, so we kind of followed in their footsteps. Our older cousins started, and then we all kind of followed suit. And then I had cousins in Donegal, Scottish cousins as well, the Frean sisters, who we'd have been playing with for years, and they would be my main sort of like foot into the music scene. And so yeah, I kind of went towards the fiddle and harp, but I fell out of it for years then. Like, I stopped playing kind of sort of early 20s.
Why?
Like, I just kind of got like, I was really self-conscious, and things were getting kind of like competitive amongst people, and it just pushed me out of it. And
That's a big thing with young girls, isn't it? Because if you go into all the cultist branches, there are more young girls than there are young boys playing music. And then at a certain age, it's a bit like sport. At a certain age, girls then drop out of it.
Yeah.
You know, what were the reasons? What were you feeling?
I just remember just feeling really self-conscious. Like, I still went to all of the sessions, and I still went to every trad festival. I was part of the furniture at the mall, but I just never brought my instrument. I found myself stopping bringing my instrument because it felt I was comfortable playing sort of in sessions with people that I'd grown up with in Belfast, but once I went further afield, like, and it's also like I just didn't play it as much, so I didn't know as much of the tunes, and then rather than kind of forcing myself into it, I kind of fell out of it a little bit.
It's a vicious circle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Now, I ended up kind of still staying in the music scene. Just I got into photography, and I found myself just constantly just not being able to get away from that sort of music and creative field, and ended up becoming like a musical photographer kind of thing. And then that's kind of with Biird is kind of like my sort of reintroduction back into that. Like, Lisa's kind of just understands that kind of background that I have, and like I have all of that upbringing and all of that sort of history of playing music, and have played music for years, like, and play it in comfortable settings. It's not that I ever stopped, but I wasn't playing it as publicly. So
why was now the time to come back to it? You know, to embrace it again, and especially with Biird, with an 11-piece collective.
it just, Lisa brought the idea to me, and even
Champion.
when
She was your champion.
no matter what Lisa suggests, you've no option other than to go along with it.
So-
So you mention into anything.
Lisa Canny is the driving force behind Biird, and she's
She
not
is.
here
Mama
because
Biird.
she's Mama Biird, but she's from Mayo, so she's not a Belfast bird or even a blow-in.
No.
But her name will be mentioned, I imagine, a number of times in this conversation today.
She's an icon.
Yeah,
She is.
for so many reasons, and bringing us together. So Zoran Donaghy, then on to you from Cavan, now living in Belfast. So you again were brought up. You've got a very musical family.
Yes, I was brought up. My dad plays the accordion, and there's not a lot of music in Cavan, but there is. My dad was always kind of like the driving force behind it, and he liked
That's Martin Donaghy.
Martin Donaghy. There you go. He brought all the flags to Cavan. So like when I was 12, 13, 14, he was like immersing me into all this music in Cavan that wasn't really there before. There was only like a handful of Kiltus branches and stuff like that. And then I was like, I saw Niall Valley playing the concertina up in Armagh, and I was like, that's what I want to play.
Why?
I don't know, whatever way he was just playing it and holding it, and his whole like stage presence. And no one else in Cavan plays it either. There's a few. Take that back, sorry. There's a handful of Cavan concertina players.
Yeah.
But I could never get like a teacher in Cavan, so I had to go to Aisling McPhillips in Enniskillen, and I went to like every workshop and every festival all over Ireland to do it, because there was like not that many teachers in Cavan, just kind of my dad, and obviously don't want to go to him for lessons.
Couple of focail in faoi ar a choirí and fod crealta seo Music at Maddens. Music at Maddens is sponsored by McIlroy Guitars. Perfectly balanced, superb craftsmanship, wonderful clarity and tone, a truly unique sound. It's only natural to want one. McIlroyguitars.co.uk for more details. Yeah, but you want to get other inspiration.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You see at 13, 14,
Yeah.
when there hasn't been much music around the area, you've had some exposure to it, but not loads. And then the next thing is the All Ireland flag comes not once but twice but 3 times,
Huge.
and something starts. Like those Cavan flags were the start of the big gigs. They were the start of a turning in what the flag represented, what it brought. Like the big crowds all started in Cavan before anybody comes after me for that one. So as a 13-year-old though, that's a really impressionable time in your life. So what was it like to be right in the heart of that? Because you were walking about basically with the AAA pass, weren't you?
No,
I still have it at home. For the 3 years I've done who AAA as if I was doing anything.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, me like walking into like Fluke in the sold out dome at first light, sold out, and I was like, hello, this is me. And it was amazing to see people that you're inspired by playing in your hometown, which they would never have been there without the flag.
Yeah. And just an amazing experience for you. And then also the idea that you could be that person on stage.
True. Yeah.
Was that seed planted then, do you think? Or
I love the idea of people getting up and doing gigs and like it being in Cavan and like kind of the whole biz about the whole thing. Do you know, I was like, this could be me someday, maybe, if I keep going and if I keep getting inspired by these people. But then in Cavan it made loads of other people want to learn music as well. So then there was like a burst of trad in Cavan after that. So like there was more people coming in and doing lessons, and there was workshops every weekend. Like it completely changed Cavan as a county for Irish music. And then for me as well. It was great.
Yeah, I think, here in 2025 now, we're definitely on the crest of a wave. There's something happening right now, and we're all experiencing it. And I think that'll also bring a lot of opportunity for you as Biird, and we'll talk about that. So last but not least, we'll go over to the green and the white in the corner in every way.
Top Limerick.
Niamh. So tell me about yourself, Niamh, and your music.
So I'm a Limerick girl. I live in Belfast now the last 2 years, but unlike the rest of the girls, I didn't grow up in trad whatsoever. My household was full of like 70s, 80s music. My dad and my brother are musicians as well. And that was the music that was playing in the house all the time. That's the music my dad played. So that was kind of my musical influence growing up. And then when I was a teenager, a bit of R&B and pop and everything. And I didn't sing till I was about 20 maybe. One of my brother's friends made me sing at a house party, and I just sang harmonies, and he was just like, oh, you have a great voice, you need to continue singing. And he asked me to be the lead singer in a band that he had started, just a cover band that used to play inside in Dolan's, Limerick, every Friday for 4 years. So that was kind of my introduction into the scene. And then along the line I met Lisa. How did I meet her? Oh yeah, at a party in Limerick, because Lisa went to UL. And she was at a house party, and I started singing with her randomly, and then she asked me to be in her band. So I sang backing vocals with Lisa, still do. This is like, oh my God, probably 10 years ago now. Revealing our age. But yeah, and so it was through Lisa and some of the members of her band that I was introduced to trad. Like there was zero trad in my life, zero.
That's class, because now you and Lisa are the lilters.
I know.
You're now the viral sensations for sitting lilting tunes.
I know. And I never wouldn't even consider myself like a traddy or whatever, but I suppose I kind of am.
How can you not when you have such
welcomed with open arms.
Niamh, you can't when you have such command of those tunes as you lilt. Oh my God. Of course you are.
I know, I love it. It's class. It was so random how that happened, but here we are.
How did it happen?
I was singing with Lisa with her band, and we were on tour in Germany, and there was a lot of time backstage before gigs because there was 3 bands on the tour, so we did a lot of like sitting around, and Lisa just came up with like a little riff for the end of one of her songs for the musicians to play, and I was like, what will I do when they're playing that? And she was like, maybe lilt it, and then she kind of lilted it, and I copied her, and then we sang it in harmony. We were like, ooh, that kind of sounds cool, let's put it up. as a video online, and yeah, it just like went viral. We couldn't believe it. Like woke up the next day, we were like, oh my god, this has gone viral.
So you did this without even thinking about it?
Yeah, completely. Like
Now you're like champions of like the oldest
yeah,
tradition.
it was a
You're
complete
like, whoops.
accident. Like
Would you think of entering the fla, like, and going for the title?
I don't know.
I think you
Lisa
should.
probably would. No, knowing Lisa, but
That
I would
be
follow
an
along.
Absolute gay.
Yeah.
Can we just plant the seed now? It may be too
Yeah.
late for this year's fla, and well, we don't want you going to Wexford with that one. Would you ever enter for Belfast next year?
Belfast.
Would you? Go on.
Don't mention that to Lisa because she will make me do that.
As if she won't see
Potentially, yeah.
Got that.
Who knows? Who knows? We're kind of
could be
like we're
beautiful.
kind with Absolute Lilt. We're kind of just like floating along and taking all the opportunities that are they are popping up. We've recorded an album, 2 albums, so stay tuned for those. Yeah, and we're just really going with flow with it. Like in terms of live gigs and stuff like that, we're like, how are we even going to gig this? Like it's a lot. Like you're after doing one lilt, you're like out of breath. So we're like, how are we going to do this? But we're just as we go, we're just seeing how it goes.
So already, we've only just got the introduction to the 4 of you. That's 4 out of 11. And there's 4 amazing stories here already.
Yeah.
And the energy that you're bringing to the chat today as well. My God, imagine if the whole audience were in a room.
No.
Like,
You wouldn't get a word in. You would not get a word in.
Be 5 hours long.
So tell me about then this idea of a collective of 11 women. So you've 11 instrumentalists, singers, dancers. You're bringing everything to the party. And it does look like a big party. Niamh, you said at the start of the conversation there, even the title Biird, you're reclaiming that what it is to be a bird. Come here, bird. And being a woman in music. Your image as well seems to be very, very important and an integral part of what you are all about. So tell us about your introduction to the collective. Who's the best person to talk about that?
I think we all have our own little stories about how we were.
Was it meeting Lisa at a
Handpicked.
party?
Yeah.
I
think
every single one.
I've got that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Donegal, maybe the same night that she asked you, but it was New Year's Eve. It was pre-COVID. It was maybe 2018, 2019.
All right, so you've been going this long, or this idea has been the genesis of it's been there. Okay.
So it was maybe about 4 or 5 in the morning, give or take a few hours. And we were sitting out at the back having a smoke, and she was like, I want to have a band called Biird, and I want it to be full of women. I want you to be one of the women. And I was like, 100%. And then totally forgot about it. And then she added me to a group chat, and I was like, what the Biird? What is this? And then the rest is history.
Why did you want to be part of it though?
Well, I was really drunk. No, I was so buzzing. The idea of like just all of your mates in a band, which is a big thing behind it as well. Like just people that gel really well together, people that are birds, people that get on.
And did you all know each other though, or have you been introduced to each
We
other?
all knew
We
each
did,
other.
yeah.
Right.
But
okay.
there was a couple of people that I didn't know before we did
Yeah.
our first gig.
Yeah.
I didn't know Sal.
Like there's some of them we met
I
the
knew
night
Sal, but I
before
didn't know Ethan.
Yeah.
so-
at Trafalgar Square gig.
Yeah.
We were meeting for the first time, but we all knew each other. We
Hang
were all
on, there was some of the band members you met before the first gig ever,
Yeah.
which was St. Patrick's Day
Yeah.
2024.
Trafalgar
Yeah.
Square.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
When we got to London was the first time we were all in the same
Yeah.
room.
Was
Yeah.
like we all like
We had a
all knew
Zoom call
someone.
and
No one was
stuff,
an
yeah.
absolute stranger. Actually, Hannah, our drummers, knew we got her from.
I'd never met Aoife Kelly, no idea who she
Yeah,
was.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, never met
Message.
Sal, never met Hannah. Yeah.
Which is mad how it all clicked so quickly.
Everyone just got on
Brilliant.
so
It
well.
just goes to show.
But
Yeah.
Lisa did so well to pick them, knowing us and
Yeah.
knowing that we'd get on with them.
Yeah.
It's that Lisa knew everyone
Yeah.
personally and knew that they would all get on, and it's like she chose like a range of like different musicians, absolutely, and she knew that she would have dancers involved. But there's
Yeah.
also like everyone brings other values and other skills to the whole Biird idea as well. Like Niamh does social media, like there's photographers, there's fashion designers, and there's teachers, and like everyone has their own different skill sets that actually end up coming through that all feed into why a band survives, I suppose, as well as just playing the instrument well, do you know?
Yeah, and do you also think it's personality and energy
Oh,
is a big
yeah.
part of it also?
Hugely.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. And even Lisa would say that a lot of people that are maybe negative about Biird, they want us to feel because they think that women argue all the time like that, and it's just so not the case.
We get a lot of comments of like, oh my god, 11 women, like the drama.
There must be an awful lot of bitchiness there.
That's it,
Not at all. We're just
exactly.
all
There's
sitting
literally
and
not.
having a ball.
Because everyone loves it, the idea of it so much and has loved the experience, we go out of our way to communicate with each other whenever there are. It's not like it's completely flawless and like problem free.
It can't be.
But we all know how to communicate properly, and we're all deal with things as adults, and we all know that like the only way to get through this is to support each other and to be honest with each other. And it seems so far to have worked, and like any issues that we've come across have always kind of.
So
resolved.
you've very clearly and very smartly set a lot of boundaries there. When there's 11 women coming together, you've been really realistic about what the downfalls could possibly be, and then you've put things in place to counteract that and mitigate that in order to get the best out of everybody and the best out of the collective.
Yeah.
Which is just pure sensible.
Yeah.
Do you know? So this idea then, we'll get to the music in a minute. And it's not to labour on the idea of 11 women together, but it is unusual. It's unusual to have this number of people in a band, full stop, right? Never mind 11 women. But the power that there is in, personally, that I think you see 11 women, like I'm delighted because my 5-year-old is going to look at you on stage and think, I could be that. We didn't have that whenever I was growing up, You maybe had Sharon Shannon, you'd Mary Black, you'd Woman's Heart. And that was a different type of collective, which again left an indelible mark on a generation. And you're doing something completely different here. So what is it you're doing when you wanted this idea of changing the narrative around women in traditional music? What is it that you're changing?
It's perhaps like one of the things would be the image of it. It's not to suggest that like what anyone has ever worn in the past is not the right way to do it. Like every other band that has come before us has had their own personal looks and that each part of their own. But there is, I suppose, like a broader stereotype that just comes from like America, I think, of like, which is like fed in through movies and stuff, of what sort of your typical Irish woman or Irish singer would look like, and that's not the reality of the situation. Like there's like, when you look at like Celtic women, they have their own style. When you look at like sort of Enya and like all of these other women that come before us, they all have their individual styles, and we just kind of have this more a way that we're doing it ourselves, So we're trying to kind of involve a lot of local designers and local stylists in a way to give them a foot up as well, like they're also just creatives that work alongside us. And we enjoy the idea that like music is a massive part of it, but it adds a whole other dimension to a performance when you have the visual aspect of it as well. And we're trying to kind of change it. We want to look a certain way. We love dressing up and like, we all go out of our way. It's like, it is still really individual, like what we wear. But it adds an extra dimension and another form of like expression to the performance.
It seems to me like it's like show clothes. So you've worked out what
like
your
costume,
uniform
yeah.
and costume.
We're wearing
That's
costume,
what it is.
stage
Exactly.
makeup.
Yeah, and there's a lot of comfort in that. So you're stepping into your persona for the gig when
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
it's like armor.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost
exactly.
like armor, so you
Yeah.
can go out and be who you need to be in
And-
that moment on
yeah.
stage.
Yeah, exactly. And like at the start, we were all a bit apprehensive about the clothes and everything. We're really stepping out of our comfort zones, wearing clothes that we would never have worn before, and we were all a bit about it. Now we've completely changed our tune.
Yeah,
and
everyone's
it's
so
like
much more
love it.
confident.
so open
Like
to
Ray and dress.
Dress me up.
Rian Honora, who's done a lot of our styling. She's amazing.
Incredible, yeah.
At the start, we're all like, Rian, I don't know. And now we're just like, maybe I should put this other layer of this
Yeah.
big mad thing on top of me.
So
And
was it
it's-
her idea
this
to go with the
veil
whole
of mine.
corset idea?
Yeah,
because
she makes them.
She makes
Yeah.
a lot
She
of
makes
corsets.
those.
So it seems like corsets. It's kind of bohemian as well.
Yeah.
Kind of look. There's a whole lot going on.
Yeah, it's just Irish fashion with kind of Celtic influences, and
Yeah.
it's just really has actually instilled confidence in us. Like looking back, it genuinely
Oh my
has,
God,
because
absolutely.
we're all so much more open to going outside of our comfort zone and trying
Yeah,
new things and
and
new looks and everything. And
we would
it's
wear
Open to
anything now.
looking a bit weird as well. It doesn't like
Yeah.
need to be so like sexy all the time
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and which sometimes I feel great when I go out and I get the boobs out and
Yeah.
it's a bit hot, but other times I don't mind either if
Yeah.
I'm a little bit wearing something a bit more.
And it's all for the
covered.
like the wider look of the whole
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And, like,
So
we're
it's just
really
whatever
learning how
you-
to.
And like
people are
the
comfortable
environment
with.
in itself supports that as well, because it's the kind of thing like I would have been so self-conscious wearing certain things on stage, but once you're kind of surrounded by all your mates, it kind of
Are you
puts
braver?
forward and like you
100%
do stuff
braver.
after a while you're just be like, because you're just surrounded by
in
all these like
numbers.
supportive class friends that are just like, pushing you forward and like pushing you outside your comfort zone. Whereas like beforehand, I'd have been like, no, oh God, get me away, and like cover me up, like
yeah, and you
group
think
mentality.
more,
cover me up.
you think more about the whole image, because at the beginning we were all like, I'm not wearing that doesn't suit me.
It was about you were looking at the individual.
You were only caring about
Yeah.
yourself, and then you actually think of all 11
Yeah.
of us as a whole,
That's
and
good.
it all
We're
comes together as a
collective.
collective
It's Lisa
image.
as well. Like Lisa is the most out there queen, like, confident woman, stage presence, so used to performing, being on stage, and she is the biggest like champion of people. Like even how Biird started was because she was so passionate about all of the women in her life that she thought were incredible musicians and wanted them to be platformed. Like that's where the inspiration came from. This is 10 years in the making, this idea. I remember her talking about Biird literally 10 years ago. And she was just like, these women need to be on a stage, you know, and she's the most like passionate person in like believing in people.
Yeah.
Same with all the styling, everything. She's just like, you look great. And
She
you just
is-
end up believing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She instills so much confidence
does.
in all of us.
Yeah.
So could be lying.
She probably is.
You look great. Get on stage.
And there might be an element of that because
Yeah.
you know you have to make sure that you get the best out of people when you've got so many people together, and you know someone does have to be the manager, I suppose, if you like. But so you know it looks to me like the whole look plays into you know getting you on stage, the idea that it's 11 of you as well, and then you have the music, and there's so many layers because most of you have 2 instruments at least. And then you've dancers, so you know the visuals, I suppose, also the rhythm that can bring to the music. There's just, it looks like it and feels to me like the possibilities are just endless when you have a band like this together. So how do you control that? Because it's, you know, how do you take it from this and maybe channel it a wee bit so that you get your show together?
At our gig from the top. At our what's the question?
It was taken. The question, Mia, was, and we'll put a pause on the hard base. There was the question
Really
was, with so
bored.
many of you together, right, and a couple of instruments each, there is so much possibility there, right? So the challenge you have then, if it is a challenge, is to streamline that ever so slightly in order that you find your sound, you find your show, you know, and then obviously you're going to add to it. You can diversify, and you can do so many things. There's so much possibility with it. But getting it off the ground, how do you go for it? And what is the sound of Biird, or how has it developed then?
So
I think we're still kind of figuring that out, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
at the beginning, like we still just play sets of tunes. Like, you know, it's nothing really out there and sort of cutting edge about it, or sort of different to what you've heard before, because we all love playing tunes and playing sessions. But then there's influences of kind of like the pop side of sort of pop genres as well coming into it. And Lisa has written songs with Rihanna Conley, amongst other people, that we have now incorporated into our shows that weren't there at the beginning. Do you know? Because like we were just kind of thrown into it at the beginning. Like as I said, we all only met, but it's really
Am I
before the show.
sensing collaboration with the ultimate queen then? Am I?
Possibly.
Oh, God,
She's
yeah.
already
We
had her
hope.
influence. She's already had her influence. She was
Raina
like
by name, Raina
part
by
of the
nature.
song. But they're more kind of like poppy with like a trad sort of like influence in it. And it's just evolving. Like one of our drummers that we have with us, Hannah, is like, she's from Amsterdam. Like she hasn't had the same background, just playing trad her whole life. So she brings this whole other sound to it as well, do you know? So it's still, it's constantly kind of changing and us figuring it out as we go.
It
kind
can
of what
be
it
a
is, you know?
logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Because there's 11 women. So there's only been a few times, besides gigs, there's been a few days where all 11 of us has been in the one place. We went to Mia's house in January earlier this year. Mia's home house in Castlewellan, who kindly put us up and gave us, like, fed us the nicest food in the whole world. And we had a week of rehearsals, and that's where we really kind of like cashed out our sound and got the set tight together, because we were like, this is our only time. Everyone's musicians, everyone has jobs. It's so difficult to get everyone in the one room, but then when we are, it's kind of like that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, that's when we did the bulk of the work, was one
Yeah.
full week in January. We just every day went at it.
Yeah,
It's a great time of the year when everybody's got the downtime, isn't
Yeah.
it?
exactly. It's just
Yeah.
after Christmas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, when we did our gig in Derry at the Jazz
She's
Fest,
getting there. It's coming. It's coming.
We did.
we did. Who knows when it was?
A while
months
ago.
ago. But I was actually thinking this show is so well rounded, like from start to finish. Like the ups, the downs, the dancing. There's poetry as well. It's just, I feel like everything is really well condensed within the show, and it shows so many different parts of Irish culture and Irish song and Irish language. It's
And what do you want audiences to take away from your shows? You know, when they experience Biird and hear your music, see you perform, what do you want them to take away from that?
I would like, what I would like to do is for it to open up Irish culture and Irish language and Irish music to a wider demographic of people that wouldn't usually be listening to it, because it's already class, right? And there's so many musicians that have been working their whole life that it's all kind of the same families and the same kind of people that are listening to it. And I think because we wear nice clothes and we are all getting dressed up, like there's people kind of in like the fashion scene and all of this
taking
that
notice.
never really sort of ears would have perked up to trad music, and it's kind of like a gateway drug into trad music in a way that, like, you know, it's not a bit mad to say that. That means, because like all we really want to do is like further the Irish music and keep it alive, and the same with the Irish language and all of that. So it's like if there's more people listening to that wouldn't usually kind of hear it, then that I see as a massive benefit from it.
And then also, right, we are on the crest of a wave at the minute, and every single one of you know the amount of work that has gone into keeping the language to the forefront, to keep the music there when tougher times, when it maybe wasn't as popular. There's always been people who have been so determined, flying the flag, advocates for it. Same with language, same with the arts, same with all aspects of Irish culture. And now there's a moment, you know, Kneecap are known globally. They've got Lancome as well. You've got some Rihanna Connolly, you've just mentioned there also. Bioga, you know, working with Ed Sheeran and in Nashville. You know, there are so many crossovers, so many. So do you find now there's an appetite for what you're selling? Is there a bigger appetite, and is that in itself exciting?
Oh yeah, I
Absolutely
think
is,
like
yeah.
as you say, we're riding the crest of a wave right now. Like there's such a moment now for traditional music, like Irish language as well. People are starting to realise that it's cool. It's not just something people do in the corner of pubs. There's a real platform for it, and I think
It's real and it's beautiful.
yeah, and it's always been there. Nothing has changed about the music, really. People are just starting to notice it more, and I'm very happy to be riding that wave.
Yeah, I think in Ireland itself, like, there's a lot of like internalized shame about sort of Irish culture and Irish language because of like years and years of oppression of British rule, you know, when it was like sort of criminalized essentially for years, and that has passed on through generations. And I think the younger generation at the minute are kind of getting washed away of that a little bit, or you know, and I feel that you notice amongst the younger generation now, they've a lot more. There's a lot of sort of interest in like learning about their history and their culture, and they're reconnecting with that, you know.
Yeah.
And like it's always been there, and if it wasn't for all of the Irish grannies singing us all of the songs throughout the most horrific of circumstances, keeping that alive, and now it's got to a point where it can kind of flourish a little bit wider, you know. And it's lovely to be sort of a platform of that. Like we're just essentially kind of
Conduits.
they paved the way for us in that way, you know. And luckily for us, we've got to a point where like all of those groups that you've mentioned yourself, like the likes of Clannad and the Gloaming and everyone, they did go internationally and they did kind of create that idea for it, and we're just kind of stepping in as the next sort of wave of that kind of, you know, whatever.
It's giving me goosebumps, to be honest with you. Just when you mentioned Clannad there, and we also touched on collaboration. You haven't recorded anything yet. So
No.
basically, to explain this to anybody who hasn't come across you yet, and I don't think there are many, in fairness, because like you're selling out big enough gigs. I suppose that comes with the territory of an 11-piece band. You need the bigger gigs. Festivals, fairly well established on the festival circuit, that can only grow. But you haven't recorded one thing yet.
No.
Yeah.
This is class in itself.
Yeah, like we can't get in the same room. So anytime Lisa's like, right, that week in April we're going to do recording, but then turns
Something
out
happens.
we have a couple of festival dates lined up. So we're like, no, we actually have to just practice. Do you know, for like
Yeah.
something else will end up taking. And we've got this far without doing the recording thing, and we absolutely have to do it soon.
We
Like,
do.
It's a bit of a joke.
We do. We
Straight
do.
to-
We
But I'd
God,
say
yes.
once we
mad.
get like the festival season over us, we'll
Yeah.
step in.
It'd be more of
We'll
an
be in
end of
for
the
a
year kind of
treat.
thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So on that note, then I've just been reading up a few interviews, all the rest of it. We notions that have been dropped here and there. We hints maybe about collaborators, possible collaborators for an album. I'm looking round and you're like, no, we're not saying, can't say. No.
We can't say, but one person that I would love to collaborate with is Enya.
Yeah. I think
Enya,
Lisa mentioned
If you're
Enya.
watching this
We'd
or
love
hear
to get
this,
her
And get her to
love
her
you.
first gig ever with
Yeah,
Biird.
please. We love
You
you.
could just go up to Leo's during the summer
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
basically take
Get
up
Lisa to her.
just sit in the corner.
Lisa could absolutely
Enya, I believe in you.
It's hard to find even when you're up. and
Manifest
started
it. Manifest
Yes.
it. You know, it might happen. So Anya would be
Yeah.
the ultimate one. Which
That would be
Anya track?
iconic.
Do
We'd write something new with her, I think.
Oh, we'd have to
We-
bring
we-
in.
I'd love to
Yeah.
see his cover on Orinoco Flow.
We did.
Oh.
What one did we do?
Who can say
Only time.
Only time, that was it.
Lovely.
No, we played it all together now and all, yeah. That was.
Yeah, and that was
That was
oh my
we only did it like one gig.
So how important then is social media side of things for you to get to where you are now?
So I do the social media.
Yeah.
Actually, my uncle Johnny the other day was like,
This is John
Bring him up.
McSherry.
Yeah.
Yes, but he was like, your social media has just gone from strength to strength. Who is it that's doing that?
No way.
Yeah. It's
Ah,
like Sneeve.
that's really nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually new-ish to the social media world. I only got my first job in social media like a year or two ago.
No
2 years
way.
maybe.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and obviously being one of Lisa's best friends, she was just like when Biird started,
That's
she was
your
like,
job.
I need someone to do the page. So I was just like, perfect. So that worked out perfectly for me. But yeah, it's really important, I think. I mean, that's how you connect with people these days. Like, there's such a power in social media, like getting yourselves out there and reaching people that you would never reach globally. And then the plan is just to like show our personalities on the page. I don't know if you saw at the very beginning of Biird, we did an introduction for each
Yep.
bird, which I think was a great shout. That was like Lisa. That was Lisa's idea. A background of each bird, where they come from, their musical influences, all of that. So like people feel like they know us now. And then it's just keeping the crack alive in all of our posts and community. It's, you know, it's kind of like putting that forward, that's like a pillar of Biird is our community and like inclusivity with our fans and everything. So I think our socials kind of represents that.
I think you're doing a great job on it, and the initial introduction, it awoke a curiosity, and
Yeah.
also I thought an excitement.
Yeah.
And just if we're nearing the end of the conversation, and you really could keep this going for ages because you've so much to say. It's brilliant, and I love as well that you're only at the start of something. And I've no doubt, and I don't underestimate how difficult it is as well. At the start of something, it's hard. The graft is long. You have to put in the hours, the hard yards to make something out of it. But then, as women in music and women in trad music, is there a difference being a woman in music or being a woman in trad music? And what is it, do you think, as young women, you're setting out to really achieve? How are you using your voices?
Well, I just hope that young girls can look up to us, and I know I've been in a session where there's about 13, 14 men, and I've been the only girl sitting playing, and I know you could look at that and say maybe it's just chance, but it happens too often. You know, women after a certain age, I think, feel like they can't play music anymore, they can't do it professionally. So I guess to show younger girls, younger women that this can be a job for you if you want it to be. This can be something that you can do for your life. And yeah, that's what I would like to show the younger generation anyways.
Claire,
Yeah.
what about you?
You were saying there about like whether it's different between being a woman in music and a woman in trad. It's hard to say because that's the only reality that we know, really. But I'd say that they suffer the same sort of struggles in that, like, they're suffering from objectification, and just like the amount of women that we know personally that are sort of a bit older than us that have like went on tours and have all of these like just awful experiences of just being made to feel uncomfortable in certain environments by specific people. Not in any way that's like the majority of people in the trad scene. Like, we love the community 100%, but there has been sort of a nature there that it hasn't, it's unfairly balanced, or that there are sort of discrimination. There is discrimination there in a way, and I think in the trad scene and in globally as well. Well, I suppose in the trad scene at the minute, like the fair play movement have highlighted that there is an imbalance in sort of particularly in festival lineups and all of that, and they've made great changes in that regard, but there is still a lot of work to do, do you know? And I suppose like we have sort of come out of nowhere like over the past year, and like there's been so many people wanting to book us, and you know, it's kind of hoping to platform then gives this opportunity for other women to be platformed, you know. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And Zoran, what about yourself?
It sounds like I'm just copying Mia's answer.
Nope.
But I'm not. I swear, I was gonna say it. It's the young girls. That, So we teach up in Glengormley, up in the North Belfast, the North, and like the amount of kids that I teach, and then like talking to the parents after, they're like, my children are obsessed with Biird. They love what you are doing, and like. One day one of the dads was like, one day she's going to be in Biird just like you. And just hearing something like that, when you don't think you're actually making that much of an impact.
Yeah.
He was like, that'll be her if she doesn't practice. She needs to be. She's going to be in Biird. I was like, that's the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's when if you're having a tough day or one of those days
Yeah.
where you just don't feel like going on stage.
Yeah.
That's your
exactly.
motivation,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what about you, Niamh?
Yeah, just like Biird is a product of and is inspired by all the women in music that's come before us, and we want to be an example to the women and young girls that are coming after us, and just like we are just a group of best friends. Like we want to look like that and be relatable, and like to instill in young girls that like they can too play music and get up on stages, and like being on that side of the stage is one thing and being up on the stage is another thing. It's such a privilege to be up on that side of a stage and to actually have an emotional impact on people in the crowd and young girls, and have people in tears and stuff. Like, as you said, if you're having a bad day, you don't feel like doing a gig, like that's the perspective that you have, is like actually having an impact on young girls and stuff, and putting confidence into them is amazing. And this is like, it's such a special thing. We look back on this for the rest of our lives, like show our kids, our grandkids, and just need to like never take anything for granted. And
Well, you talk about feeling that Biird is a group of best friends. It has just felt like we've just had friendships have been created here today, just sitting around having the crack and having the chats. It's just been great to talk to you.
Lovely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. To be continued, I feel.
I hope.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Promise?
I swear to God.
before we
we
Glastonbury.
I've actually loved this.
What year?
Yeah. In the following year to this one.
Yeah. No, we'll have all split up. We'll be doing our solo interviews, telling the story.
Crash it out at some point, so we're just riding the wave.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all. You enjoy every single second of it.
Thank you so
Here,
much.
it's been great to talk to you all
much.
today.
You
Míle
too.
maigah, míle buíochas.